Hi guys, welcome back. And today we have Travis joining us. Travis, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course, I'm happy and honored and grateful to be here.
Yeah, it's really great to have you on, and I'm looking forward to our conversation. I was just thinking beforehand, when we first connected, which was kind of recently, actually. Probably was it two months ago, month ago,
Yes.
something like that, when
Seems
we
like
had the
eons. Seems like
yeah, seems like ages ago. But no, so in like the past 2 months, and obviously I said would be amazing to bring you on here. So now we're making it happen. So I'm super pleased about that. But for Travis, for those who don't know who you are, could you kind of share a little bit about into who is Travis, and then we'll dive into the conversation today. But yeah, I'll hand it over to you, man.
okay. So, hello, I'm Travis Morris in this lifetime. And what I'm here to do is just as a light worker, as a creative, as a speaker, as someone that just is bringing everyone together as a practitioner. I'm here to guide and to bring light and knowledge of self awareness to everyone on this earth into collective consciousness. So that's what I am here to do. This is who I am. And just to bring love and light and self awareness through introspection to outward perception. So that's a great way to put it.
Amazing, man. And so for those who don't know what like a light worker and kind of those things that
Oh,
you do, kind of what that is. Um, because obviously when we first connected, I was a bit like, okay, what is that? Like, I'm super interested. And then obviously we had the phone
yeah.
call or the Zoom call, and I was like, okay, awesome, that's amazing work. So for those who don't know kind of that work that you do, would be really good to kind of share a bit more of that.
Of course. Okay, so a light worker or a practitioner, either one, they're both doing service to others and service to humanity in different ways. So a light worker is someone that comes here that is identified with the the evolution process of being a light, and exactly what it
Mm-hmm.
means, a
Yeah,
light
yeah.
in this world. It works and it pits a light into working as they are putting a light to everything that they touch and everything that they embody with themselves. And it evolves over time, of course, with the more as we separate personality from identity and becoming more of our true divine self within everything around us. So that is what a light worker is. And you could possibly be a light worker, anyone listening. So it's like the more that you deep in, maybe ask yourself, am I a light worker?
Yeah,
Am
yeah,
I?
for sure. Definitely. And so kind of let's kind of keep on that. When did you kind of discover that that was your calling and your purpose and the work that you've dedicated yourself to?
Okay, so really the first started stages, of course, it was the Dark Night of the Soul, started out in the early 20s, and I'm now 24. So this happened around 20 years old. One to a perspective of saying, everything starts to make sense, even if I had an idea of what is my passion and what I'm here to do. It was still a little loose and still a little kind of open ended. And so, as I wanted to be more self sufficient, more independent in my journey, I didn't know what that was. So, it was still going through the dark night of the soul, unlearning a lot of things of that stage to getting to a point of saying, hey, I can everything mean? What does everything actually necessarily come to the ended open question of saying, who am I?
Mm.
It's like, and that's what started this whole journey of the question itself and the statement, who am I? And who am I has been the, I think, is the leading for a lot of us, but it's the question of me as I'm growing and understanding who am I within everything. So that's what really started everything.
Amazing, man. And so that kind of leads us into obviously we're going to have a kind of conversation about a few different things. But one of the things I knew that you wanted to touch upon was that conscious human evolution. I believe, and so I'm super interested in that and learning more about that myself. And I'm sure the audiences as well and our listeners in that. So so I'm guessing that very much goes into like your work and that purpose and that passion of that
Okay.
light worker work, if that makes sense.
Okay, so the conscious evolution, as that was actually came up recent in my journey thus far, is that I a thing Barbara Marx Hubbard. She's an evolutionist. She's a scientist. She's a conscious evolutionist towards change, and so that has been a very big pillar of me recently. As I was growing, moving, recently I was like, so how can we evolve, especially everything that has happened since the earlier 2020. Can we truly evolve who we are in the way that we think? Because as we are one mind, one consciousness, one collective, we are able to see things in and we feed in feed in each other's feelings, emotional beings. We feel each other. It's funny how something that can happen across the world affect someone in the United States so deeply, or somewhere across the country, or somewhere across the others' emotions, and feel each other what we're feeling. And so, as what conscious evolution is, it is the evolution of of the way that we are self-aware and who we are. The more self-aware that we are, the more that we can be more self-dependent, more reassured movements, as well in our knowledge and wisdom is not always the clearest thing in our society. So the more
Yeah.
that we become evolved, the more that we become super enlightened beings that came here to discover, the more that we can start creating a world that we really, really see and start living and embodying that world within ourselves.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
So that's what that is.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's great. I'm just gonna check internet connection because so I understood what you were saying, but sometimes it's a bit like choppy, so I'm not sure if it's my
Oh,
connection. I'm not sure if it's my connection or not. So let me have a look here. Um, okay, we'll see how it goes. But no, so kind of going back to what you were saying, I'm kind of interested in then how you like first came across this, so a bit more kind of your journey to coming across this. I think you mentioned with like the light worker stuff. Obviously, it started when you were 20, but what was, I suppose, like what was life like beforehand, and how is this work and having this purpose and this passion and sharing it? How's that bit like changed your life?
ooh, that's an excellent question. I love that. I love the story. So as going forward, and even before I became of what this is, it was getting out of high school, being that teenager that wants to the first things that wanted to be done was make money, be be independent, and able to. I think at the time, ego of saying that I made it type of sense. Always be
Mm,
a being that says I made it to this point. I made it, and wanting to kind of grasp all this falsality of what really makes a life great and successful. And so, and that was the problem. That time started a fashion brand, and very young. I had support, I had the finances, I had the things to move that forward. As I'm grateful and thankful as that part of that journey, but it was a very loose uh, perception of what I really wanted to do. After months and months of working on it, the website was about to go up, and the store was about to be live and ready to go. I decided to say, "Hey, that's not something I want to do." And
I feel
as
you there.
everyone around, yes. So as I'm really shocked, very just like, "What do you mean? I don't get it. This means either, but somewhere in me gets it." And so as I was going through the whole process of figuring that out, I was like, "Okay, so I just want to help people." Me, and I just want to help. And of course, from my and my understanding, I went to, of course, simple things of humanitarian work, and those are ways that wasn't really feeding. really wanted to do. I was like, okay,
Mm,
humanitarianism, great. Then I was like, no, how do I get there? It's like,
mm,
it's just like, how do I do all these things? The shots, things, and all this extensive work, staying there for long periods of time. I was down for it, but wasn't really aligning. And so I got to a stage of saying, of course, the question, who am I? So
mm.
as I came, I went to a bookstore randomly, Barnes and Nobles. I don't know in the UK, but it's Barnes and Noble. But as I went down to the process, I felt guided to go get a book. And as I was strumming my fingers against the book, the self awareness, knowledge, religion section came across my path. And so
Mm.
at about, I was just like, okay. My fingers stopped at this book called "The Science of the Mind: A Philosophy, a Faith, a Way of Life." And and little backstory: back then, I was not a big fan of reading, so this was very rare that I went to go to a store and get a book. So this book was this big, very thick. It was a
Wow.
thick book. Very PHAT fat. So so it was
What book was
a
it?
very big book. It was called the science mind. It's a philosophy, a faith, a way of life, and it kind of course at that time it exploded my thought process,
Mm.
expanded my consciousness. I was like, whoa, so I see this pattern. I see this pattern. That doesn't make sense in this current society. This doesn't make sense. And I was like, that doesn't make sense in my beliefs. Every slightly questioned and triggered. And so as they were being questioned and triggered, it was going back and forth of what was actually true to who I thought I was at that moment. And so as those things were developing and roaring out of my outward reality, want to I was a shut in. I shut myself in. And, people around me and the beings around me thought I was because I can't go out. Society, what I'm really doing or who I'm interacting with. I was like, the beings I surrounded with, are they for me? Are they not? Is the interactions I'm having, is it gaining me or is it depleting me? And so as maybe I didn't use those terms and terminology at the time, it was still the same premise and still the same narrative as everything moved along. So it's
Okay.
been since that journey, it's been a very ripple effect of how I saw my life, because about myself was rippling of how I saw, and so that started to um, uh, and uh, and kind of grow itself into something that was more and more meaningful every single time I found an epiphany moment
Mm.
or a deeper meaning. So that's how just like getting to that backstory of just saying, because I was always kind, always loving, but of course we have these little things that we were a little petty in different ways, and it was never still congruent in those words. Never a straight line of where I knew where I was going. And
Yeah.
still, as I have a better idea now, a more in tuned guidance system now, I still have a slight picture of where am I actually going. Every single time I get to figure that out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's a journey for sure. Um, one thing,
Yes.
yeah, one thing, Travis. So we've got some comments coming in from people who's joined us and saying your connection is breaking up a bit. Um, so I'm not sure if you can check your connection
Mm.
somehow. You still there?
My is it? Oh, I'm beloaded.
Yeah. So Gary
Is it
says,
better?
um, yeah. So got a few comments from Gary. Your guest speaker, which is you, is breaking up a bit. But we can keep going and just see how it goes. Um, I just wondered if you could check it. But
Just, of course,
okay.
of course. It's just like so, and of course, other moment if you want to do in life and things like that, that could even work too. So it's just all it was all about really rediscovering what is the meaning of my personal purpose and
Mm,
why is it congruent with the solution of how everyone around me was moving, growing, and developing themselves.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
as these things was really feeling very heavy, very very in my relationships, I needed to find a haven of as I currently define research journey, a safe haven. What is it that everyone else is looking for? What is
Mm,
everyone wanting to find? And it's all about connection.
yeah.
Everyone desires a connection,
Well,
either
yeah.
that
Yeah.
starts with connection within self, and it goes
Yeah.
into the connection find people just and I feel that when we are having we always want to see in our outward reality, and then
Mm,
that goes for the search of when the most popular term back in 2018 to 2019 was finding my tribe. I need to find my tribe. Everyone was
yeah.
looking, and it's like, and I feel like now I think this is the same purpose now. Everyone's just like, okay, where is this tribe?
Mm,
Are they? Where am I? And a little bit deep root, I find that have just like even within you, just like little scenarios where you're just like um even finding others like wanting to find themselves in reality a little bit.
yes.
Just like,
Sorry.
and I feel like
Yeah.
it's been yeah, just a constant movement towards how we can be more developed tips. And so that's how I kind of got to the process and level, getting
Mm,
to where I was,
yeah.
I am. So
Yeah.
that
Makes sense. Yeah. Awesome. Are you still there? Broke up.
wait, is it breaking up a little bit? Just a little bit.
Are you there?
Um
Yeah. Okay. You're back now.
I
Cool.
think
I caught the end there.
okay.
So that's good.
I can hear a little bit.
Let me see.
Um,
Sorry, guys, having a bit of connection problems. Let me see
I'm
what's going
trying to.
on. Um,
No, no, take your time, do your thing.
cool. Well, we'll just see how things go. But no, I caught the end there, Travis. And I definitely agree about the connection thing. 100%. And one thing that I wanted to ask you, because it's kind of come up a few times during during the episode, was about you kind of like starting that journey to discover like who you are type of thing. And so how can our listeners and our people watching start that journey for themselves?
Mm. It's like the things that I've kind of came up like the little souls, the little things that always constantly pushed me back a little bit into that I can give a little bit more of advice to adapt a little bit. But of course, this is something that everyone take it with a grain of salt because we're all our own guidance system. So everyone's listening. See what fits and what agrees and what doesn't. So, and that's the biggest advice that I could always give. But the little pushbacks and struggles when anything, ask yourself, why do I believe no, and why do I feel like I even entertain it?
Mm,
Um, and this is a big thing because I think that a lot of us in this world always want. because we're not so sure of ourselves just yet.
Yeah.
We want and desire type of understanding. Don't you tell me what to do? Tell me what to do. Sometimes crying out to the world and say, "Tell us what to do." Sometimes what to do, but we don't trust ourselves enough to take those moves and
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
those ways of how.
Oh, we've lost him. Sorry, guys. Connection issues today. Let me see. Probably my internet because it's not very good. But there we go. As you're joining us, just leave a little comment down below, and while I try and fix this. One of those days, guys. But let me see if I can get Travis back. No, okay, I'm good. My end must be.
Let's see if I can. Is this a little bit better? Wait, can you hear me more clearly right now?
Yes, you're back now. You completely went for a minute, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was just that maybe it was because it said it was a little connection. So maybe is this more clear?
Yes, at the moment, yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so Eureka. Thank you, spirits. So as things were moving along, and I don't know where I left off here, but it's saying when everything is telling you no, sometimes we do not trust the system within ourselves. We kind of go through this pathway of always asking, what is it that is my kind of my Hail Mary, and kind of just like, what is, I need a sign, I need a sign, I need a message, when they intuitively know what to do, but they second guess themselves four, five, seven
Mm.
times,
And where's
and
that?
they never
Sorry.
take.
Yeah.
Oh no, no, yes. So where is it usually comes into a space where we really don't, when we know that something is really, really a way for us to go, but we just don't believe in ourselves. We
Mm,
don't see ourselves as either worthy or even either as someone to be like, oh, I'm right, or because conditioning through our lives sometimes tell us that what our own personal thinking, what should be done, should be factual, should be logic based. It should be very left brain instead of right brain intuitive. And if you can't really put a outward reality or lifestyle or even type of example of what you're attempting to do or what you feel guided to do, sometimes it gets diminished and looked down upon from yourself because you
mm,
haven't had a real life example, or it looks down upon because of the ways that society or even the people closest to you may have viewed it or programmed you based off their own personal doubt and insecurity and their triggers and their projections. So you have to ask yourself, is this something that is me? Or is this something that is, meaning we, every single other person around you projected their opinions onto you? And that's when something that is so congruent within our journey. We have to ask, as we're moving, as we're evolving, as we're transforming, and as we can see it now, as humanity, we're going to dark night of the soul. We're going to a part where it's just like we have to really ask a lot of questions and say, what do I want to believe? Because people, we're getting thrown information left, right, and we don't know what's true or what's not, who's for us and who isn't. But if you look inside, you're the only one that can be for you. So you have to go within your inner guidance system, and that's what will lead you all throughout your life. Guidance from self or whoever you believe in outside of yourself. If you don't, just believe in you. But it doesn't necessarily change the fact that you have to be really in alignment with your knowing, with
mm,
what makes you happy. And not even saying happy. Happy is a fleeting emotion. What makes you joyous? I said joyous, but joyous. And it's like, and so it has to be more of a self-rooted, self-driven reason of why you want to do things. And another tool that I would recommend, it's a Ask what is driving me in this situation? What is driving me in any type of decision that you're making, or even emotional standpoint? What
Mm.
is the main file? If we look at things like a computer, as we are a computer in different ways, what is the main file location in my system? Is this a zipped file that I don't even know about, that has some category files in it? You're just like, oh my God, it has like 3,000 files and 3,000 incidences that I didn't even know where this was coming from. So it's kind of just like, where is this really being derived into?
Mm.
And so it's a full process. It's a full, deep, as I call them, wounds. It could just be little viruses within your system. Viruses of saying that, is this really congruent in your identity? And so, as I say identity, I mean who you really are within this full divine cosmic society, within, beyond this earth, beyond everything. Who are you? Because personality, personality is the things, no one's really who they are until they know who they are, because everyone is basically living off in uh, a perceived perception of who they think they are. Everyone wants to
Mm.
be someone else, but they don't even know who they are fully within themselves. They see an example, they see themselves and say, hey, I like some qualities and traits in this individual, as we all are one organism, but they adapt it so much that it becomes who they are. And it's just like, okay, so what are your true dislikes, your likes? What actually makes you a aligned being in your own individualism? Because, and we've seen it all before. We see a lot of carbon copies, a lot of carbon copies of certain things. And like, especially if you go into people in the dating world, people that want to start dating within their world, it's just like everyone's the same. Everyone has the same profile, the same type of likes, the same type of dislikes, the same type of ways of expressing themselves. Who's different? Everyone's looking for that different version of themselves
Mm.
in an outward being. But no one actually has to realize, even if they're looking for friends, platonic, any type of relationship, or even type of career, we don't really realize that if we are attracting a certain type of person, we really don't know who we are yet. Who to say, because we're a mere reflection to our life. And
Yeah.
so so you have to ask, what is it and who am I in my journey? Am I my parents or friends or peers conditioning? Am I their projections of their own fears, of their own insecurities that I adapted in mind just to fit in and make it a little bit more comfortable in my environment? It's like, what is my true style? What is my true sense of expression? What is my true identity? And so that is that's one of the tools. Some of the tools that I put in there. It's a lot, but these
Yeah.
are. I
Powerful.
feel like, thank you. But it's something that is, it's truth, and because
Mm.
and when I say truth, it's a it's a vibration from what is actually there. It's I'm only a, and what I'm saying is just only a kind of interpretation
Mm-hmm.
of what the truth is. And I think that's what everyone is an interpretation of the actual knowledge. And it's kind of just like it's like paraphrasing from a
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
It's just like or a quote. It's like, I kind of know what the quote is, the exact lines, but of course down the line it's like playing telephone, and all gets interpreted. So it's just like, whatever it is, whatever resonates with you, or drop the call on the telephone. So that's a certain tools that I use to in my journey recently, that has become very useful, very beneficial towards this journey.
One thing I picked up there was when you asked, or when you said the question to ask yourself, what is driving me? And I think one thing that people can do is ask themselves like those powerful questions. And so I don't. So one, I don't know your thoughts on that, and I'll be interested to kind of hear them. And two, if you kind of go along with that, of helping, use of our listeners and that can use powerful questions to help them not just to grow and move forward in their lives and overcome those things limiting, holding them back, but also to find like their true self and everything. And yeah, if you have any other real powerful questions that people can kind of ask themselves to start that process.
Mm, okay. So I think a very powerful question, or even it could be powerful interpreted, is this, what's a good one? I was going to say one, but I was like, is it really that? Isn't that really striking? Um, I'm going to say is, as everyone's living their life, as everyone's going by day, it's kind of like when someone says, stop looking down and actually look up for a while,
Mm,
look at the sky, look at everything. I think a little question, or a question in itself, is to ask, how much am I paying attention?
mm,
How much am I paying attention to everything that's around me? How much am I really gaining a perception of what my personal reality is and what's actually surrounding me in my life? Because with, of course, the eye, if you want to think in more of a psychokinesis way, we the eyes can only pick up so many things of the senses that are actually going around us. If you think about in more sensory detail, same thing with there. But if you want to go more of the literal 3D sense, it's more about, am I missing some things? Am I missing some signs about how I'm supposed to change my life?
mm,
Move it a little bit to the left, a little, or to the right. Go down that street until to this one. Because sometimes we're so in our head, we're so deeply rooted in our thoughts, we forget to breathe, calm down. Nothing's that serious. Whatever you're thinking about is gaining too much of your attention. And now you need to bring it back and to look at what's around you and actually say, smell the roses, as they say. Smell the roses. Get some fresh air. And but what I mean by that in a more growth sense is just to say, calm your mind.
yeah.
Actually look at and still it. Pause it for a moment. And if you don't really know how to do it at that moment, practice it. Practice makes perfect. And I think that that's a thing that we have slightly lost in our society if it's not driven by money. I think that if we practice the daily rituals of asking ourselves what's actually around me, what is something that I've been missing, what is a thing that I haven't really been paying attention to, and everyone has those.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
has those, and I feel that those are the things that will even enlighten us more of how we can bring a trajectory towards self evolution.
Hmm.
And even just understanding the beings around you and giving time, because it could be a friend, because if we're so deep within ourselves, it could be a friend that could be very, very sad, or really going through a really emotional change, and we can be so so self focused in ourselves that we're just like, wait, let me turn around. Let me ask, how's this person doing? I've been so
Yeah.
focused on myself. I could have give a this could be an opportunity to help
Mm,
someone close to me. And I think something that's a question I would give. Ooh, what's another one? Another question I would say is this something that is working for me? And I think that when this comes into about, you can even ask this about a certain mindset. Is this mindset working for me? Things that,
mm,
of course, some of us read books, some of us watch videos, stuff like that. We see very inspirational people, but sometimes we take on their mindset so easily without asking ourselves, is this something that actually works for me? Or is
mm.
this something that is someone else's way of being and doing, and I'm just adapting to it because I resonate with certain little key things, instead of taking them away and say, let me put the cards on the table, lay them out, and create our own system that works out for you. Because that goes back into being a carbon copy of understanding identity. So when you're asking, does this really, what really works for me? Is this working for me? Is this something that is congruent? Does this make me, of course, happy, joyous, fulfilled? And of course, we heard all those things before. Is this merely making you happy? But no, it goes deep in the thing of saying, going deeper and asking you, say, am I aware of what actually makes me happy. Because some of us are not even aware of what actually makes us happy, what actually makes us light up. Because we just look at things and says, well, I'm successful, but what is success? Is it money?
Mm,
Money's fleeting. Is it something that derives from something that is truly soul rooted in your journey? And you have to really find those little nuggets of that information that hide in the distractions to our day-to-day life. And because when we find those little golden nuggets, we could be led to a big, huge cave of all these rubies and gems of who we actually are. And so that's what I would really say is a question that has been truly beneficial as well for me. But let me see. I feel like it's so many questions, an infinite amount of questions, because
yeah.
it's always for the listeners. As the listeners are listening, it's something that could be really beneficial to them.
Well, I definitely think like we've got a few powerful ones there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but maybe if we do one more, if you've got one,
Sure.
if you've got one more, do three
Go,
powerful
go.
questions that people can ask themselves.
Okay, let's see if it's one more of the
Is it one more?
infinite trade. Let's see. Um, I think what just came to me is this why I'm here, and let me give a little more clarification to that.
Is this
So if you place your
yeah? So I'm just
so
writing them down. So the question is this why I'm here?
yes, that's why I'm here,
Yeah, this is why I'm
and
here.
so it is like so. Let's just place a scenario. So if you're working a job, and you're asking yourself, you went to school, you did those things, or even if people that are in college, they had an idea and they said that this is, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and then they're kind of feeling a little uneasy or uncomfortable or not really happy, and you have to ask, is this why I'm here? And then why you say, is this why I'm here? Is this why I'm here to learn this? Is this why I'm here to gain this? If you work for an IT company or you just learn code, is happiness congruent on why I'm here? Is the if me being actually happy is at a detriment in this certain space, then why am I here? And that could be even in a relationship. It could be say, so why am I here? Is why whatever question I said, just like, is this exactly why I'm here? And even with your personal relationships, if you look them and see them around, we are the mirror of them. And so when they said, what is it? Birds of a feather flock together, as that's an old fashioned thing. So if you see those things, and some things aren't working, you say, is is this why I'm here? Is this why I'm here to understand? As that brings a different perspectives too. Ask yourself,
Yeah.
is this why I'm here to learn, understand,
Mm,
gain perspective? So if you're here to say, am I in this situation to gain perspective? So you won't feel so deep rooted um, in the kind of the nuances of the daily narratives to say, oh, complaining, just and not really gaining from anything, because everyone
mm,
wants to slightly not really look at the bigger picture. So if you look at the bigger picture and say, is this why I'm here to learn, to help, to gain, to find meaning within myself, or meaning
yeah.
and help others gain meaning? And so if you ask, is this why I'm here? That can
Mm,
lead you to little crumbs to where you go further, because we only get to know what we need to know in that moment. So that's the last question that I have.
amazing, man. Awesome. Travis, do you have any final thoughts or words of inspiration for our listeners? Um, and then we'll kind of go into where people can find you online if they want to learn more about what you do and connect with you. But before we do that, yeah, I would love to hear if you've got any final thoughts.
Oh, okay. So as I'm deepening in and connecting with everyone around me, I would say I feel that the final thoughts is to be who you are. Even if you're not really sure of that yet, be who you think you need to be in these moments. Really understand why you are living the life that you're living. And if you don't know about that, if you don't not fully aware, ask yourself, is is this something that is derived from me, identity or is it derived from them
Mm.
personality? And to ask, is this the more that do I really know myself? Do I really know myself the way that I think I do? How deep have I gone into the depths of your personal ocean, individual oceans, to find who we really are? And ask, if we haven't, are we afraid? Are we scared of what derives down there? Or
Hmm.
do we already know what lives down there? We're just afraid to face it because we think that it, as our inner child, may come and be like the monster under the bed. So it's kind of just, are we afraid of our own monsters under our own beds that we make every morning, but we're not truly really aware to face and clean the sheets every single once in a while. So I feel like those are, it's a thought of saying, start asking yourself questions, start loving yourself more, and the more that you step out in the world, make sure you step out with love, and make sure you love yourself first before you can, and understand what that love is unconditionally, so you can love everyone else around you fully, in acknowledgement in who you are. So that's
Amazing.
the last thought.
Awesome, man. And yeah, where can people find you online if they want to learn more about you, what you do, and yeah, to connect with you?
Oh, okay. So where you guys can find me, you can find me on Instagram at Travis Morris, TravisMorrisSS. So it's three S's after
Right.
Travis Morris.
Okay.
You will see me there, and you can find me there. So it's, and of course, I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel soon, so you can
Amazing.
find those links as well. So and what you will find there is exactly what you found here in this interview, of just self-reflection tools to get there, and a broad knowledge of what's actually around you and
Amazing.
inside of you. So thank you.
No worries. So, what I'll do, man, is I'll link those in the description. So, guys, if you want to connect with Travis, then go ahead and do so. Links are in the description or in the comments, depending where you are watching this from. But, Travis, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Luke, for having me. It's been an honor and a delight.
No, pleasure is all mine. So guys, I will be back next week with another awesome guest. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.